If you believe kindness is weakness, this story might change your mind. Before we begin, take a second to subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us what real strength looks like, and you won't want to miss the next one. Now let me tell you about the Carter sisters. Emma Carter had always been the quiet one, soft-spoken, gentle, the kind of girl who apologized even when something wasn't her fault. In a town like Millfield, where everyone knew everyone, that made her an easy target. Most mornings, Emma woke up before sunrise. While other teenagers were still asleep, she was already in the barn, helping her father with the cows. She knew how to repair a broken fence, how to drive a tractor, and how to work through exhaustion without complaining. Her hands were rougher than most girls her age, but her heart still soft. Her older sister, Harper, had been the complete opposite. Bold, fearless, protective, the kind of person who didn't hesitate. 4 years ago, Harper left town right after graduation. She enlisted in the military. Rumors spread quickly in a small town. Some said she joined a special operations unit. Others said she disappeared overseas on classified missions. Emma never corrected anyone. She just missed her. One Thursday afternoon, Emma was walking home from school, her backpack slung over one shoulder, her thoughts somewhere far away. That's when she heard tires screech behind her. A lifted black pickup truck swerved to a stop beside the sidewalk. Inside were the usual three. Logan Hayes, captain of the football team, confident, loud, used to getting away with everything. Beside him sat Derek and Mason, his shadow followers. "Well, look who it is," Logan called out with a crooked smile. "The farm princes." Emma kept walking. "Hey," Derek laughed, "heard your sister ran off because she couldn't handle real life." Mason added, "Guess toughness doesn't run in your family." Emma's steps quickened, but Logan jumped out of the truck and blocked her path. "Where's the rush?" he asked. "We're just talking." Their laughter felt sharp, like tiny cuts she couldn't stop. Logan shoved her shoulder. Her books fell, scattering across the pavement. For a moment, everything went silent in her chest. She didn't yell. She didn't fight. She just bent down slowly, gathering her books with shaking hands. "Leave me alone," she whispered. The boys laughed louder. And Emma walked home with their voices echoing behind her. What they didn't know was that someone else had just returned to Millfield. That same evening, a dusty SUV pulled into the Carter driveway. Harper Carter stepped out. Her boots hit the ground with quiet confidence. 4 years away changes a person. Especially when those years are filled with places you can't talk about and memories you can't erase. She hadn't planned to come home for long. After a mission overseas that had ended badly, after losing someone she considered family, she needed air, silence, something steady. She needed home. She walked inside and found her father asleep in his recliner, an old Western playing softly on the television. Everything looked smaller than she remembered. She moved down the hallway toward Emma's room. The door was slightly open. Inside, Emma was curled up on her bed, her pillow damp with tears. Harper froze. She hadn't seen her sister cry like that since they were kids. She didn't need details. She could read pain instantly. She stepped inside quietly and sat on the edge of the bed. "Em," she said softly. Emma stirred. For a moment, she blinked like she was dreaming. "Harper?" Her voice cracked. "Is that really you?" "I'm home," Harper whispered. Emma threw her arms around her. And that's when Harper felt it, the tremble in her sister's body. "Who did it?" Harper asked gently. "It doesn't matter," Emma said quickly. "They're just stupid boys. It matters to me." Harper's tone stayed calm, but her eyes changed. The next afternoon, Logan and his friends were hanging around an abandoned shed near the edge of town, laughing, smoking, acting untouchable. Logan was in the middle of retelling the story. "You should have seen her face," he said proudly. "Like she was gonna cry." "That's because she almost did." They laughed again. Footsteps approached, soft, steady. "Hey, boys." They turned. Emma stood a few feet away. Same braid, same denim jacket. But something felt different. Logan smirked. Didn't think you'd come back for round 2. I didn't, she said calmly. But I did come back for something. Derek stepped forward and reached for her arm. He never touched it. In less than a second, he was on the ground, flat on his back, gasping. Logan stared in disbelief. What the? He swung. The girl in front of him moved effortlessly. She sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, twisted, and swept his legs out from under him. He hit the dirt hard. Mason raised his hands instantly. Okay. Who are you? The girl straightened up. Her posture changed. Her voice deepened slightly. I'm Harper Carter, she said evenly. Emma's sister. The sheriff arrived 10 minutes later after someone called about a fight. He found 3 teenage boys sitting in the dirt, shaken and quiet. Harper leaned casually against the fence. Care to explain? The sheriff asked, hiding a smile. They attacked us. Logan blurted. Harper raised an eyebrow. Really? The sheriff sighed. Boys, he said, you picked the wrong sister. Word spread fast in Millfield. The sheriff didn't press charges. Instead, the boys were assigned a week of community service, cleaning the Carter farm. It wasn't official punishment, but it was enough. For the first time, Logan didn't look arrogant. He looked embarrassed. That night, Emma and Harper sat on the porch together. The sky stretched wide and endless above the fields. Crickets hummed softly. You didn't have to do that, Emma said quietly. Harper leaned back in her chair. I know, so why did you? Harper didn't answer immediately. Finally she said, because I've seen what happens when good people stay quiet. Emma rested her head on her sister's shoulder. You've changed. Harper smiled faintly. Yeah, the world does that. There was a long pause. Then Emma asked, Are you staying? Harper looked toward the horizon. For a while, she said. I think I need to remember who I was before all this. Over the next few weeks, something shifted. The boys kept their distance. Logan even apologized, awkwardly but sincerely. Emma slowly began standing taller. She joined the town fair planning committee. She raised her hand in class for the first time in years. And eventually, Harper started offering free self-defense lessons at the community center. Not to teach fighting, but to teach confidence. The classes filled quickly, not because Harper was intimidating, but because she was calm, grounded. She taught them something important. Strength isn't about hurting someone, she'd say. It's about protecting what matters. Emma watched her sister differently now. She saw the tiredness behind her strength, the silence between her smiles. One evening, Emma asked, Do you miss it? Harper knew what she meant. The missions? Emma nodded. Harper thought carefully. I miss the people, she said. Not the fighting. Then why did you go? Harper looked at her sister, really looked at her. Because I wanted a world where girls like you didn't have to be afraid. Emma's eyes filled. You were never weak, Harper added softly. You just chose kindness when it was harder. Months later, Millfield talked about the Carter sisters differently. Not as rumors, not as targets, but as examples. Harper eventually returned to service. But she left something behind: confidence, courage, and a reminder that strength comes in many forms. Emma kept running the self-defense classes after Harper left. She wasn't the strongest in the room, but she was steady. And sometimes that's even more powerful. Because here's the truth. The strongest warriors aren't always the loudest. Sometimes they're the quiet ones who endure. Sometimes they're the sisters who come home. And sometimes they're the girls who survive cruelty without losing their kindness. If this story meant something to you, don't forget to subscribe. There are more stories like this waiting. Stories about courage, loyalty, and the kind of strength the world doesn't always notice. Until next time.